was very excited that Barbara, you were here tonight, because I share your passion particularly for those that have been sexually abused, and I noticed you've written some works on that subject and moved in that area, and I congratulate you for that, because it's something that's very, very close to my wife and myself's heart. We actually did I won't come across and give it to you now, but later on, give you this DVD from a Sexual Integrity Forum we held at Parliament House. I worked with Jenny George from the left, the Labor Party, and actually Concetta Fioravanti Wells from the right of the Liberal Party. Amazing how you can get people together on certain issues, isn't it? It's wonderful to see that. And working with those people and many other different people in Parliament House, because I believe one of the greatest scourges that we do have in our nation is child abuse. And I'm sure we'd all agree with that. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Yeah. Let's make this really clear, okay? Is that correct? Yeah. And you know something, really, child abuse comes from both sides of the fence, unfortunately. But certainly, we men have got a lot to answer for in some of those areas. And I actually apologise at the forum. I said, listen, there was ladies and men there, and I got up and I said, listen, if there's ladies here that have been hurt and wounded, and of course there was a lady who was a prostitute, and a lady who was running a brothel who was not running a brothel anymore. She was Linda Watson, who was reaching out to these women who were broken, and many of them have been abused, many of them have been wounded. And you know, we've got to learn to make room for those that have been broken and those that have been wounded, and fight for our children and fight for their rights, which are very, very important. Family law is the man the loser. Couldn't help but agree with you, Peter, your last statement that, you know something, I actually believe that yes, men are losers. Yes, women are losers, and so are our children. Our children lose the most. You know, I'm looking here at the back of the room, I'm seeing Tony Miller, who's a very good friend of mine, who runs Dads in Distress. And he's going to start the meeting tomorrow. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to tell a story. He tells a story of where he goes. And he tells the story of Crystal from the right. Is that right, Tony? 16 years of age. And Crystal came from a home that was divided. They were fighting all the time, and there were shocking things going on. And of course, the parents broke up. And Crystal got very depressed. She came home from school one day, and the family home was up for sale. Correct me if I get the story wrong, by the way, Tony. The family home was up for sale. And she got a can of petrol. No, it wasn't petrol, it was methylated spirits, wasn't it, Tony? She got a can of methylated spirits. The house was empty. And she walked in the front door. She broke into the house, literally. And she walked around, and maybe she was thinking about the times they had as a family together. Maybe she was thinking about the good times. Maybe she was thinking about the bad times. Maybe she was thinking about when she was a little girl and she was playing with her daddy on the lounge. Maybe she was thinking about the times when they had pancakes around family dinner on a Sunday night. I don't know what went wrong with the family. I don't think even Tony knows. And possibly Crystal doesn't know either. But Crystal basically got this methylated spirits and just started pouring it all over the carpet of this house that was now deserted. And she struck a match. And she was burnt alive. And Tony tells that story in every DIS meeting, and they have this minute silence, because you know something? Who are the losers in family law when families break up?
Children.
The children. All the time. Now, you might detect a little bit of passion in my voice, and it's because I know what it's like to grow up in a family that World War III. Wonderful father. Anyone got a wonderful father out there? Had a wonderful mother. She's still alive, thank God. She's down in Tasmania. Anyone got a wonderful mother? But they couldn't get on. Has anyone been there and grown up that situation? I won't ask you to put your hand up. But it's a terrible situation to see the people you love fighting each day. And of course, by the time I got to high school, I've been to 13 different schools. That's a lot of schools for a young boy to go to, isn't it? In fact, I'd been around the world twice, because my mum was Scottish and Dad was English, and well, English Australian. Thank you very much. I appreciate that 5-minute mark. Indeed, I went to Scotland because Mum was Scottish. I thought everyone lived with their grandmother. But everyone doesn't live with their grandmother, do they? but I was living with my grandmother. I can remember going to Killarbilly public school, and I walked into public school, and they called me and my brother, who was 2 years younger than me. I was 10, he was 8. They said, "Oh, we're going to take you away and put you in a home." And I said, "Why?" "Oh, well, your mum and dad are fighting." Well, I knew that they were fighting. Didn't fight so much like this, although mum did draw blood on my dad once, so that was pretty horrible to see that. But I never saw my dad hit my mum. He was a man of peace, and obviously there was a war still, but he was a man of peace. And but you know, it's still wrong, isn't it, when people fight? It's still wrong when people argue. And of course, they're going to put me in a home, and you know, mum and myself and my little brother had a good set of lungs, and we just started crying, and we just didn't stop crying, and we just cried and cried for 2 hours. And guess what? They realised that we did love my mum, we did love our dad, and we want to stay with them both. And that's the wish of every child out there. Yes, there's cases out there of terrible child abuse, and there's terrible situations do go on. But you know something? The great majority of families that are breaking up, they're not breaking up because of violence, they're breaking up because the parents are just fighting. And they're arguing, and they refuse to get on, or maybe things happen, there's betrayal, there's a sexual betrayal, or some other sort of betrayal, or whatever it is. And great hurt is caused to those children as families do break up. So I'm passionate for families. I share many of your passion for families today. And yes, I think that men are the losers in the law in a great percentage of the cases. As I said, I think that basically both the children and the mums and the dads are losers when families break up. Suicidal litigation, I've got the words from a song on our Father's album, which recorded in 1999. There's just no easy answers. But I remember a case just recently in Melbourne where a man was put in jail for sending a card to his daughter for 9 days. Can you believe that? And of course, a shocking situation where a man was threw his little girl over the edge of that bridge. Who was just struck by that? I was just broken inside when I heard that story. After a custody case, they got this custody, and the next day he threw his little girl over the bridge. I mean, just like, hello, what's going on in this world? The very sad thing, though, is that 3 months before, a woman had strapped a little 2-year-old boy and jumped over that same bridge. But did you hear that in the media? No. And of course, we have this filtering system in our media. I noticed a story, and I'm very close to finishing, don't worry. I noticed a story by Dr. Greg Toohey, and he was studying child abuse and how people die and how children die. And he found out that when you remove the biological father, be careful, the biological father, okay, out of the home, or there's a disruption in the family, and that biological father is separated from those children. He found out that children are 17 times more likely to die. This is coroner's inquests all over Australia. 17 times more likely to die from death, accidental death, from bruising, from child abuse. The very best way to protect our children is to keep marriages together. The very best way is to support women and mums and dads, and support dads as they go through these situations, before they go into situations, to train them, to encourage them, to support them. And of course, that's why I'm so passionate about this subject. That's why we started the Fatherhood Foundation, to provide linkages, to do courses for men, and to make a case to help men work through the situations they're working through, and also help women. Myself and my wife work with a lot of single mums and try to help them in their time of need. I'm not sure that this is it's a very hard question to answer. Family loser, the man the loser. I think we're all losers. I would agree with you, Peter. And we have to build a better society. It's a society that's built on the old-fashioned four-letter word called love. Everyone say it with me, L-O-V-E. We're going to learn to love. We're going to learn to stand up for the broken, stand up for those, condemn child abuse wherever it occurs, by whatever gender. Because as Bettina Arndt said, Bettina Arndt, a great journalist, she said, no gender has a monopoly on vice. Thank you very much.